Here's something that messed with my head the first time I saw it. I walked into the home of a man worth over $400 million, and the kitchen was smaller than mine. No gold-plated faucets. No sweeping staircase. Just a regular house on a regular street in a regular neighborhood. That moment changed how I think about wealth entirely. Because the richest people I've spent time with, they're not buying what you think they're buying. They're not chasing status. They're not flexing. They're making quiet, invisible investments in things most people never even think to spend money on. And that's precisely why they stay wealthy while others don't. Today I'm pulling back the curtain on 6 things wealthy people actually spend their money on, and more importantly, the practical lessons you can steal right now no matter where you're starting from. For over a decade, I've worked directly inside the inner circles of founders, CEOs, and top executives, sitting in on decisions, watching how they think, seeing what they say yes to and what they immediately walk away from. What I discovered is that the habits that built their wealth are the exact same ones most people never learn about. Let's get into it. They buy back their time. Not their products. Not their status. Their time. Here's the mindset shift. Wealthy people have done the math. They know, down to the hour, what their time is worth. So when something costs them time but doesn't require their unique skills, they immediately ask, who can I pay to handle this? Scheduling. Grocery runs. Laundry. Travel logistics. Email management. These aren't things they can't do. They're things they've decided they won't do, because every hour spent on that stuff is an hour stolen from something worth far more. One founder I supported had 2 assistants running in parallel. Her in-person assistant arrived every morning with fresh organic groceries, prepared a smoothie, walked the dogs, and handled household errands before most people had finished their first cup of coffee. Meanwhile, her virtual assistant was managing her calendar, organizing her inbox, booking travel, and clearing every routine decision off her plate. The result? She showed up to every workday with 100% of her mental energy aimed at growing her business. No friction. No mental clutter. And the revenue she generated in those reclaimed hours made the cost of both assistants look like pocket change. Now, I'm not telling you to go hire 2 assistants tomorrow. But here's what anyone can do. Identify the 2 or 3 tasks that drain the most time out of your week, then find the most affordable way to offload them. Grocery delivery. A cleaner once a month. A virtual assistant for 5 hours a week. Even freeing up 3 or 4 hours a week can compound into something extraordinary over time. Because time isn't just time. It's leverage. They pay for mistakes they'll never make. Think about it this way, making money is only half the game. Keeping it is the other half, and that's where most people lose. Wealthy people spend serious money on tax strategists, estate attorneys, business advisors, and legal counsel. Not because they're paranoid, but because they've learned, or watched others learn, that one bad contract, one misunderstood tax law, one handshake deal with no paperwork can erase years of hard work in a single afternoon. The data backs this up. Research shows that over 70% of wealthy Americans use professional tax strategies, nearly double the rate of the general population. That gap isn't a coincidence. It's a strategy. But here's how you can apply this without needing a team of attorneys on retainer. Start using AI tools, ChatGPT, Perplexity, whatever you prefer, to educate yourself first. Before I meet with any professional, I spend time understanding the basics on my own. That way, I'm not paying an expert to bring me up to speed. I'm paying them to customize the solution, catch what I'd miss, and protect me where it counts. Think of it this way, the right advisor doesn't cost you money. They save you money you didn't even know you were bleeding. They invest in their body like it's a business asset. Because it is. Rich people aren't just gym enthusiasts. They approach their health the same way they approach everything else, strategically, proactively, and with a long-term return in mind. Personal trainers. Annual blood work. Therapy and mental health support. Physical therapy before the injury becomes chronic. Sleep optimization. Recovery tools. Why? Because they've watched what happens when health slips. Energy drops. Decisions get worse. Momentum stalls. And in that state, it doesn't matter how smart your strategy is, you can't execute. But here's the thing. Smart health investment doesn't have to be expensive. Getting an annual physical and basic blood panel catches problems early when they're still manageable. Prioritizing sleep. A consistent bedtime, no screens an hour before bed, a darker room, can improve focus, decision-making, and energy in ways no supplement can match. These aren't luxury wellness habits. They're high-return investments that cost almost nothing. The wealthy figured out a long time ago that you can't outperform a broken body. The smartest thing you can do is maintain the machine before it breaks down. They invest in skills that multiply their income. Let me tell you about one of the most surprising things I ever witnessed in my career. A billionaire CEO, a man whose calendar was worth more per hour than most monthly salaries, had a standing weekly appointment with a Mandarin tutor. Right there in his office. 1 hour. Every single week. I was stunned. Learning a language takes years. Couldn't that hour be spent running the company? I had to ask him why. He looked at me like the answer was obvious. His company was expanding into China. He wanted to walk into rooms with partners, clients, and team members there and speak to them directly. No translator, no lag, no lost nuance. He wanted to build real trust. Led without a wall between him and his people. It's not a cost, he told me. It's the highest leverage investment I can make this year. And that's exactly the mindset shift most people never make. They think of learning as something you did in school, passive, optional, behind you. Wealthy people treat skill building as an ongoing multiplier. Leadership, communication, negotiation, personal branding, public speaking. Each skill they add doesn't just make them better, it increases what they can charge, what they can build, and what opportunities they can attract. You don't need a tutor in your office. But you do need one skill you're actively developing. One that aligns with where you want to be in 3 years, not where you are today. That's where the return lives. They engineer their environment for success. Motivation is unreliable. Wealthy people know this, so instead of chasing it, they engineer environments where success becomes the default. Remember that executive I mentioned at the beginning? The one worth hundreds of millions, living in a 3-bedroom townhome? That wasn't an accident. That was a decision. He chose a smaller home a few minutes from his office. No long commute, no sprawling property to manage, no neighborhood of peers competing on appearances. Just proximity, simplicity, and focus. He optimized his environment for output, not optics. And this principle scales down to any level. You don't need to redesign your entire life. Start smaller. Clear the workspace where you do your best thinking. Add noise-canceling headphones to signal deep work. Keep your phone in another room during the hours that matter most. Set up a corner of your home that's only for focus. No clutter, no distractions, just the work. Environment isn't just about comfort. It's about what behavior your surroundings make easy. The wealthy understand this intuitively. They design their days around that truth. They pay to be in the right rooms. Here's one more that most people never talk about because it sounds almost too simple. Wealthy people are strategic about who they're around. They understand that proximity to the right people doesn't just open doors, it changes how you think, what you expect, and what possibilities even register as real for you. So they invest in it. Masterminds, executive education programs, industry conferences, private peer groups, curated networks where the entry fee isn't just money, it's the level you're operating at. I once supported a founder who had already built one of the top companies in his industry. Business was thriving. He had nothing obvious left to prove. And then he enrolled in an executive education program at Harvard. When I asked why, he didn't hesitate. He wanted fresh perspectives from people operating at levels he hadn't reached yet. He wanted to be challenged by thinkers outside his usual circle. And he wanted access to visiting experts, to other founders, to conversations that don't happen in boardrooms or LinkedIn comment sections. You don't need an Ivy League program to apply this. Local industry meetups. Online communities with serious practitioners. Mentors who are 5 years ahead of where you want to be. The goal is the same. Get into rooms where the people around you raise your standard just by being there. The underlying pattern. Every single thing on this list comes back to one question that wealthy people ask before they spend $1. Will this buy me time, protect what I've built, or grow what I'm capable of earning? That's it. That's the whole framework. No impulse. No status signaling. Just a clear-eyed calculation about return. And here's the thing. You don't need to be wealthy to start thinking this way. You can apply this framework right now at whatever income level you're at. Because the mindset comes first. The wealth follows. If this gave you a new way of looking at money, don't stop here. Watch the next video. I'll see you there.